And when a man steps out of the wing machine, the woman fires a shot. Then she picks up the spent shell casing, pondering her escape plan. Elsewhere, a man wakes up from a nightmare and drives off into the night, hoping to forget the horrific dream. He spends the hours until dawn by the sea, gazing sadly at a happy couple walking their dog. Later, he receives a letter from an unknown sender and sets off to the Marine Corps base. Once on federal property, he proceeds to the office of a woman who calls herself Agent Bartholomew. She knows that Levi comes from a military family and that he himself is an elite sniper with 113 particularly difficult kills to his name. After retiring, he took on private contracts, but he is currently bound by no obligations. Although he is ready at any moment to work with the Marines, he refuses any contracts because the military psychologist deemed him unfit for service. He is alone, no girlfriend, no relatives who might worry about him. The man does not use or experiment with substances because all that affects his accuracy. Levi could have appealed the doctor's findings, but sees no point in doing so, nor, in fact, in many other things. Meanwhile, at the cemetery of a small Lithuanian village, a man is playing Bach on the accordion when his daughter approaches. She is the sniper we've already seen, named Drasa. Today is the memorial day for their mother and wife, and they always try to meet at her grave. The father has heard that Drasa took a contract to eliminate a Belarusian oligarch, and the daughter admits it was a hard job because the man she killed had 4 children. But her father reminds her that the oligarch had been selling phosphorus bombs and anti-personnel mines. You can't possibly count the number of children who lost their health or even their lives because of that man. Drasa hands her father a shell casing, which he places in a wallet with several others, convinced that his daughter is doing the right thing. He asks Drasa to stay with him for a couple of weeks, but she has already received orders to report to Moscow tomorrow. Her father doesn't like it. After all, she's Lithuanian and doesn't have to obey. He is terminally ill and doesn't want to die in terrible pain. So he has decided to end his life on Valentine's Day. He asks her, wherever she may be on February 14th, to light a candle for him, look at Orion, and say goodbye. Sometime later, Levi flies off on yet another assignment. Ahead lies a restricted zone where his plane cannot go. To reach his post, he will have to travel on foot, 38 kilometers north. They take away his gadgets and watch, but hand him a sealed envelope containing the mission. Levi parachutes and soon lands in a forest. He treks through the mountains, arriving at his destination, where he is greeted by a soldier who is supposed to hand over the post to him. Jasper is very glad to see him, having spent a whole year there on his own. Levi admits he knows absolutely nothing about the mission, not even what country he's in. Jasper, in turn, cannot reassure him. He's in the same predicament. Soon the soldier leads him to a tower that will serve as Levi's living quarters for the coming year. It is fully autonomous, equipped with solar panels, a generator, and rainwater collection. Game is plentiful in the surrounding area, and there's even a garden. On the opposite side of the gorge stands an identical outpost belonging to the Eastern Bloc. Levi cannot get there, even if he wants to. The slopes of the ravine are mined and bristling with traps of all kinds, so each side simply does its own job. The work here is simple and suitable for a qualified technician. He must conduct a daily patrol of the western border, inspecting fortified defense points. A connection check with the outside world happens every 30 days. Satellite transmitters are installed all along the border to shield the gorge by sending false signals. Consequently, this place is invisible to spy satellites and reconnaissance drones. There is no communication with the outside world. In a worst-case scenario, there is a panic button that will alert the authorities if something happens. If all systems fail or there's an invasion, the system will initiate the stray dog protocol. Justin doesn't know what that is, but if Levi hears sirens, the best course is to run far away. He thinks it's all tied to the Cold War because each year someone from the west patrols this side while someone from the east watches their own side of the gorge. And for 75 years, no one has ever discovered what's actually inside the gorge. The main objective is not to let whatever's in the gorge get out. A year ago when he took over, Justin also thought his predecessor had gone crazy, but he got to see something the guards dubbed Hollow Men. Justin doesn't know what they really are, though the phrase is taken from a poet's work. Justin knows that in the late 40s, 3 battalions, 2,000 and 4,000 cavalrymen were sent into the gorge to clear it out, but none returned. After that, they switched to a containment system. Justin learned all of this from his predecessor's stories, which may well be a broken telephone version. But the soldier himself believes the gorge is an entrance to hell, and they are guarding the gates. The men bid farewell, and Justin heads to the pickup point where a helicopter is supposed to collect him. Soon, the aircraft appears in the sky and drops a cable. But as Justin climbs aboard, the pilot shoots him and throws his body down. Then he reports to Bartholomew that the rotation is complete. A month passes. Levi diligently fulfills his duties, going on daily patrols, checking all the weapons, ensuring the mines are ready, then radioing his superiors to report that everything is running smoothly. In his free time, he reads. There are plenty of books in the tower after all. One day he notices a few quotations on the wall, presumably left by his predecessors, dated from past decades. Sometimes he tends the garden, harvesting the last of the season's produce, and one day he hears the sound of a saw from the other side of the gorge. Looking through binoculars, he sees a woman. Drassa also tries to make out her colleague across the way, but when she sees him move away, she returns to her task. That night, Levi wakes from his usual nightmare, jumps up, and grabs his rifle, not realizing he has broken a glass and cut his foot on the shards. Bloody footprints on the floor help him come to his senses. He picks up his binoculars and sees Drassa, who also isn't sleeping. But when she notices his gaze, she extinguishes her candles and moves deeper into her room. Another month goes by. Drassa celebrates her birthday and then starts watching Levi. Bored, she decides to play a prank. She fires a shot into the air to get his attention. When he reaches for his binoculars, she holds up a sign asking for his name. He warns her that contact is forbidden, but Drassa isn't bothered. She writes her own name and, since it's her birthday, declares she'll do as she pleases. Levi laughs, writes down his name, and suggests they have a drink in her honor. The woman then turns on music and asks him to dance with her, but Levi insists he has no idea how to dance. Drassa doesn't believe him. Surely there must be something he's good at. Levi confesses that he's a good sniper. Drassa wants proof. Levi places his flask on the edge of the parapet, planning to shoot it, but Drassa knocks it off first with her own shot. In response, Levi ruins her bottle of wine with a bullet. Drassa then balances another bottle on her head, showing that he can keep practicing. But suddenly, she loses her balance for a moment and, startled, takes down the bottle, motioning for him to look below. Levi peers into the darkness and soon spots something moving, a strange creature resembling a living tree. He opens fire just as one of these beings steps on a mine and blows up, but others continue climbing the wall. Drassa now opens fire as well, helping Levi shoot down the monsters. Together, they take out several creatures, after which silence falls. But as soon as Drassa steps back from the edge, hands with branch-like fingers grip the ledge, and a woody monster crawls over. It keeps moving towards the woman, ignoring her gunfire, and Levi covers her with a shot from his rifle. He immediately realizes that hollow men are also attacking her side of the gorge. So now he fires across to her side, helping the woman fight them off. Mines explode on the edge of the gorge, throwing Drassa aside, but Levi covers her with machine gun fire, just as she'd done for him a moment ago. Finally, the assault ends. They sit in the darkness for a long time, trying to regain their composure. Then Drassa tends a wound she hadn't noticed in the heat of battle and writes that this was the coolest birthday ever. In the morning, Levi inspects his side of the gorge, welding over gaps in